Hey guys, I get to install some aluminum CNC artwork into my UDR. Vitavon, this bulkhead right here. This thing is immaculate. I'm going to show this to you guys in detail and then put this into the UDR. And of course, take it for a test drive. Take a look. Okay, let's look at this thing a little closer. That's beautiful. Get the Vitavon in there. Now, one of the nice things about having an aluminum gearbox is it helps hold your pinion gear in place. It doesn't allow the deflection. And the deflection can cause you to kill a ring or pinion. You know, it can absolutely happen. Now, this has got your new steering bell crank towers or posts. Yeah, this thing is flat out nice. Now it's time to put this thing into my truck. There's the old UDR. Obviously the body's already been taken off. Now if you're not familiar with my UDR, it does have a Castle 2200 kV motor, Max 6, some XT90 adapters, a homemade sway bar, which works pretty darn good. It already has the Vitavon front suspension arms, and as you can see, they've taken some abuse because I kind of drive my stuff. This is a Vitavon rear axle. Highly recommended. Love that thing. Those are MFR suspension arms, uppers and lowers. And other than that, it's really close to stock. If you want to call it stock. Those nice Vitavon arms, all that's coming off, so I can install this. Be the nice, shiny, cleanest part of the whole truck. With the screws out, this peels up and out. Now, if you don't have these loose, you kind of got to peel that just a little bit, kind of pull on it, but it does come out. And here's the front assembly. I'm going to go ahead and finish taking all this off with a 2mm hex wrench, and I'll get this completely off and out of the way. And then we can start working on that. Got to remove the lower hinge pins right here, and we're going to take this little piece off right here. This is your keeper. It uses a 2.5mm hex wrench. With that gone, chances are good you'll end up needing a little pair of pliers to kind of start the pins, pulling them out. But once you get them coming out, unless they're bent or something, they should pop right out just like that. Right down there is the set screw pin that holds the front drive shaft assembly to the front end. You can get at it right here, or you can actually get at it through the top. You can actually get at it right through there if you want. However, I'm going to go ahead and get at it right here as you see it. And then I'm going to pull the top links loose right here, because to get this assembly out, you're going to have to kind of pull it a little bit this way to get it off the actual drive shaft spline. At this point, I've got these little keepers off right here. With some pliers, I'll just simply hook onto those and pull them out. I've also taken the screws loose on the bell crank right here. And hopefully this assembly will just kind of come loose and I'll have access to this. There are 4 bolts you got to get at from the top. So I may be making a little bit more of a mess out of this than I should, but I'll get it. I removed the screw right there on the steering arm. And now it's just a matter of 6 bolts using a 2.5mm hex. One here, here, and then there's 4 on the top, as you can see with this piece right here. One there, there. Then you have these 4 screws right here that actually hold this assembly to the chassis. And once I've got the old one out, I'm going to install the diff into this case right here, and then reassemble everything right back in. With the 6 screws out, this thing should pull out. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Kind of had to pull it up a little bit. And that's it. Simple as that. I think I have a new bell crank I might put on this thing. This one is locked out, and which is why I have a metal servo horn. This has killed a few horns. So, time to open this thing up, clean it out, clean it up, and reinstall into the new piece. Okay, so I have not opened this front end up in quite a while. As you guys can see, let's see just how bad it is in there. Well, it's actually not bad at all. I am impressed. Awesome. Just give it a little wipe down, some fresh grease, and put it in the new piece. I've replaced the bearings, and I'm actually going to go ahead and put it in now. I also switched the cups. Now, if you do have cups that are worn out like mine and you want to change them, they're just held in with a 2mm screw, or a 2mm screw that uses a 2mm hex wrench. You take that loose, and these will actually come out. You don't have to go through all this work to get these out, and they're fairly easy to change. I just don't happen to have a set of new ones around. If I did, they'd be on here. When you go to install the diff in the new piece, you got to put it in correctly, like this. You can see the groove right there in the grease, and also there's a piece on the stock plastic that keeps you from putting it in backwards. It will go in backwards in this front end. So if you do this, it's going to be a real interesting drive, because your front's going to be going one way, the rear is going to be going the other. So just make sure you put this in correctly, and that would be this way right here. The pinion is in, the mesh feels absolutely perfect. So I'm going to grease it, put this on, and I'm also going to use some blue thread lock on these bolts. I don't want red, but I will do some blue on them. It's aluminum, so they may actually come loose, and you don't want that to happen while you're driving. It's in, turns great, nice and smooth, and I did find the new bell crank, complete with the spring. So let's see how it turns with that, because I'm kind of used to the locked up one. So that's it, ready to go back in the truck. Now, if you are using the stock ones, just take those two bolts out. They use a 2mm hex wrench. Pick that assembly up and set it right down here. Simple and easy. Now, to put this back in place, we just simply set it in place. I mean, nothing to that. You can move your bell crank over to there to line this up once you get all this bolted in. I'm going to put these two bolts in so it'll hold in place. Flip it over, put these 4 bolts in, and then I'm going to push the drive shaft back onto the splines, or the splines are the flats of the shaft. That's your input. So yeah, it's that simple. This is what it looks like from the top, and I also went ahead and put my drive shaft set screw in from the top, since it's kind of easier than going in from the outside. So time to put everything else back on. All the pins went in great. Now this piece right here, I really don't think it's needed with the aluminum bulkhead, but since it's there, meant for it, I am going to put it right back in. But I don't really know that it's needed with all this other nice beef. Looks beautiful. I really need to wash up these arms now. They're actually dirty. Sure does look nice in there. Everything's so shiny. Time to put the body on. So guys, as far as the drive goes, it's kind of hard to show that particular part in any way whatsoever. So I just found some sand where some locals like to turn donuts and leave ridges of sand and stuff like that. So I just drove it for you guys. However, if you do like this part, the front suspension arms, the rear axle, Vitavon also has a transmission case, and he's coming out with some brand new real beadlock wheels for the UDR. If you like that and if you want to get in touch with Vitavon, their email address is in the description below. So take a look at that for sure. This guy does top-notch work. Absolutely awesome. So guys, hopefully you liked the video, and thank you all for watching.